Open Letter to Killer Mike and the Architects of Our Disenfranchisement by Underwriter Baby, presented by Word Up Media Network. Unfiltered, unforgiving, unapologetic. This letter is addressed to Michael Render, to Leonard McKelvey, to O'Shea Jackson, and to every other Black and Latino influencer who decided that playing political contrarian was more important than protecting our fundamental rights. You told us to plot, plan, strategize, organize, and mobilize. Then you sat down with the enemy. They told us the Democratic establishment hadn't earned our vote. You told us that Kamala Harris wasn't doing enough, that Joe Biden was a relic, that we needed to hold our political capital hostage until our demands were met. You sat down with Brian Kemp, a man who purged 300,000 voters from the rolls to steal an election from Stacey Abrams, and called it productive. You gave Herschel Walker a platform. You told us that being Black didn't guarantee our vote. Well, congratulations. You got exactly what you asked for. You handed the keys to the most dangerous man in America. You held your vote hostage. And in doing so, you handed the keys to the kingdom to the most dangerous and hateful man in America. And now, the bill has come due. It is the Black and Latino communities who are paying the price in blood, sweat, and stolen futures. The bill has come due, and it is our communities paying it. April 29th, 2026. The day the Voting Rights Act was gutted. On April 29, 2026, the United States Supreme Court handed down its decision in Louisiana versus Calais. In a 6-3 ruling, the conservative supermajority effectively eviscerated Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act of 1965. They didn't just chip away at it, they demolished the effects test that has protected minority voters for 40 years. They ruled that states can engage in de facto racial discrimination as long as they claim it's for partisan advantage. The numbers don't lie. 127 districts, 191 seats. Our representation gone. 127 Black majority state legislative districts projected to be lost across the South. 191 state legislative seats wiped off the map. Healthcare, education, local justice gone. 19 additional safe Republican House seats being created by packing and cracking our communities. You spent the election telling us not to vote. Now you want us to mobilize? And what was your response, Mike? You hopped on social media and told us to mobilize. You told us we have work to do at the polls. The sheer unadulterated hypocrisy is staggering. You spent the 2024 election cycle telling people not to vote for the only ticket that could have prevented this, and now that the house is burning down, you want to show up with a bucket of water and act like a hero. As D.L. Hewley rightly pointed out, you switched up when it was convenient. But the damage is already done. You talked Black wealth. Trump delivered Black unemployment. 7.6% Black unemployment in the first quarter of 2026, up 1.2 percentage points from the previous year. A 1.7-point drop in the Black male employment population ratio under Trump 2.0. Under Trump 2.0, Black unemployment has skyrocketed. Black men, in particular, have seen their employment population ratio collapse. You talked a big game about economic sovereignty and building Black wealth. This is what you helped build instead. 271,000 federal jobs eliminated, and Black workers paid the price. 271,000 federal jobs eliminated by Trump's Department of Government Efficiency. Who do you think held those jobs? Black workers, particularly Black women, who have historically used federal employment as a stepping stone to the middle class. In places like Prince George's County, Maryland, the economic fallout is devastating. The communities you claim to champion are the ones being hollowed out. The Black businesses you claim to champion are being crushed. Trump's erratic tariff policies are destroying Black entrepreneurs, raising the cost of goods, and squeezing already thin profit margins. His administration has actively worked to dismantle the Minority Business Development Agency, firing its staff, and closing the centers that help our communities secure funding and contracts. This is the economic sovereignty you helped usher in. You championed black business. Trump dismantled the agency that funded it. You weren't alone, and neither was the damage. Charlamagne the God spent the election cycle demanding deliverables. The Trump campaign weaponized his words in attack ads that shifted the race by 2.7 percentage points. Ice Cube pushed his contract with Black America to a man who has spent his entire presidency dismantling every protection we have. Dr. Cornel West ran a spoiler campaign that only served to weaken the coalition against authoritarianism. Kodak Black, Waka Flocka, Sexy Y Red, Amber Rose actively endorsed and celebrated a man who views our communities with open contempt. A non-vote was a vote for Trump. A third-party vote was a vote for Trump. When you oppose the only viable alternative to a fascist dictatorship, a non-vote or a third-party vote is a vote for Trump. You used your massive platforms to breed cynicism and apathy. You made it culturally acceptable to sit on the sidelines while our rights were stripped away. You played a dangerous game of political chicken, and our communities are the ones getting crushed in the collision. You made apathy fashionable. You made oppression inevitable. This isn't just bad policy. This is survival. The Trump administration has weaponized ICE, setting quotas of 3,000 arrests per day and threatening to deploy the National Guard to progressive states. They have politicized FEMA, denying disaster relief to those who don't support the president. They are threatening to withhold federal education funding from schools that enforce basic public health measures, 3,000 arrests per day. This is the America your silence helped build. Every protection we built over decades is being torn down. DEI eliminated. Executive orders banning diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility across the federal government. HBCU funding attacked. Direct assault on the institutions that have educated Black America for generations. Fair housing revoked. The affirmatively furthering fair housing rule dismantled. The 28% Black home ownership gap will only widen. Disparate impact gutted. The legal tool Black Americans use to challenge systemic discrimination in housing, lending, and employment. FEMA politicized. Disaster relief denied to communities that didn't vote for Trump. We are done listening to millionaires insulated from the consequences. You built your brands on the aesthetics of revolution while enabling the architects of our oppression. You cannot legitimize voter suppression, platform right-wing extremists, and depress voter turnout, and then expect us to follow you into battle when the rights you helped squander are finally taken away. The era of the celebrity political savior is over. We don't need your empty slogans or your belated calls to action. You built your brands on revolution. You delivered oppression. In a two-party system facing an existential threat, purity tests are a luxury we cannot afford. We need leaders who understand that in a two-party system facing an existential threat, purity tests are a luxury we cannot afford. To every person who voted for Trump, or who stayed home because their favorite rapper told them the system was rigged, look at the wreckage. Look at the gutted Voting Rights Act. Look at the skyrocketing unemployment. Look at the militarized deportations. This is the reality you chose. Look at the wreckage. This is the reality you chose. We will rebuild. We will organize. We will fight back. We will rebuild. We will organize, and we will fight back. But we will do it without the false prophets who sold us out for clout. The era of the celebrity political savior is over. The community is done being a prop for your brand. We are done being a stepping stone for your relevance. We will find our own way, and we will remember who stood with us and who stood against us when it mattered most. We will rebuild, but not with you. Like, share, and ring the bell to be notified of future videos. Unfiltered, unforgiving, unapologetic. We bring you the stories that shape our world, exposing the unseen and questioning the accepted. Presented by Underwriter Baby, Word Up Media Network.